Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Chapter 1 of Bala is also known as the summary chapter. Is a conversation between Valmiki and Narada. The recitation of chapter 1 Bala begins. Long ago in Treta Yuga, there lived a sage by the name Valmiki. His knowledge of the Vedas and the Vedangas was deep and profound. He had trod the fourfold path that leads to liberation and discharged the duties of his place in life to their utmost. He had the fleeting senses under perfect control and the mind their monarch. And unto him in his holy hermitage came Narada one fine morning. Narada, the divine sage, Narada, the best and foremost of the mind-born sons of Brahma. His long life had been spent in unselfish prayer and devout meditation. The bonds of karma and material existence were to him a thing of the past. He knew no other joy than to contemplate the countless perfections of the Lord of all and the deeper mysteries of the holy Vedas. And from his Veena Mahati he drew forth such strains as held enthralled the hearts of all gods and men, to the accompaniment of which he sang the praises and the glory of the Great Father as embodied in the hymns of the Samaveda. Very few equals had he in the art of speech, so clever and so convincing was he. And to him who came there impelled by the searcher of hearts, Valmiki respectfully submitted the following questions. Among men in the world, who is the one crowned with every excellent quality? Who has mastered the science of weapons, human and divine, and out of the might engendered thereby is able to scatter his foes before him? Who is versed in the mysteries of Dharma as revealed in the Vedas and the Smritis? Who is it that bears not in mind the grievous wrongs done to him by others, but magnifies any single act of kindness on their part? Who is it whose thoughts, deeds, and words are ever in perfect harmony? Who never strays from his dharma even in the face of direst peril and distress? Whose life is pure and spotless? Who ever seeks the highest good of humanity and of himself here and hereafter? Whose eyes see clearly and unerringly between the real and the unreal? Who has a profound knowledge of men and things and twines himself round the hearts of all? Who is a perennial source of delight to all that approach him? Who, like a skillful driver, has his mind and senses under perfect control? Who is it that allows not his temper to get the upper hand of him? Who is it of presence so charming that men can never have enough of beholding him? Whose heart knows not envy, spite, and calumny? Who is it that men and gods dare not face when the fierce joy of battle is on him? Verily, it is almost hopeless to find all these noble elements combined in one single individual. But if there be such a one, you would know it of all men, for reverend sir, there is nothing either in the heavens above or in the worlds below that escapes your all-seeing eye. And nothing would gladden my heart so much as to hear it from your lips, if you but deem me worthy of the honor. He paused for a reply, and Narada rejoiced at having at last gotten opportunity for giving out to the world what he had all along lain next to his heart, and had been the subject of his thoughts, waking or sleeping. Lo! Here was a disciple after his own heart, who thirsted for the very knowledge he was seeking to impart. What more could he desire? And then the questions! How clear and how comprehensive! So with a glad heart he spoke back, well hast thou questioned and skilfully. Of a truth, it is not easy to find one in whom all these diverse excellences are united. But with a little thought, I believe I can find you a person answering to your description. Verily, no one has better right to know it, for your keen and clear intellect is equalled but by your powerful memory. And now listen with your heart and soul. There now rules the earth a king by the name Rama, for the godly line of Ikshvakus, and in him will you find your expectations fall very short of the reality. He has his self under perfect control. His prowess is unequaled. The splendor of his presence baffles description. He is serene alike in weal and woe. His intellect is strong, keen, and comprehensive. There is very little that he does not know about kingcraft. His sweet speech charms away the hearts of men. You can never have enough of looking at him. So lovely a sight is he to see. Enemies he has none, neither in the world or in himself. Broad are his shoulders and mighty. His arms are stout and strong. His neck is poised on his shoulders with perfect grace, and the three lines around it make it charming to behold. His massive jaws are but an index to the iron will of the man. His broad chest and deep flanks bespeak a strength that could lightly take up a bow and string it, that others would never even dream of approaching. His joints are strong and supple and deeply embedded in muscle. His friends and followers may well bid defiance to their foes, be they ever so mighty. His hands are long and powerful and reach down below his knees. His head is exquisitely modelled, and his forehead beautifully arched like a crescent. Graceful and majestic is his gait, even as that of the lion or elephant or the tiger. Neither too short nor too tall, his stature becomes him marvellously. His limbs are clean made and beautifully proportioned, and his rich complexion speaks of the perfect health of the man. It requires but a simple effort of his will to destroy his enemy's root and branch. His eyes are large and lustrous, even as the petals of the lovely lotus, rich in all the things of the world that make a man happy. He is, in short, the beau ideal of man. The weak and the oppressed find in him a ready and fearless champion. He never makes a resolve, but it is accomplished to the utmost. He is ever intent upon the highest good of all beings. Bright is his fame as a refuge of the stricken and the terror of his foes, even as the sun in his noonday splendor. Ever engaged in the meditation on the Supreme, he has realized his oneness with it. Untouched by desire and by hate, with his system purified by the regulation of the vital currents and the other yogic practices, and with a body which, though real and substantial to all purposes, is but an illusion and is formed out of a film of inconceivably subtle matter, he is ever pure of body, pure of heart, and pure of spirit. He is always obedient and dutiful to his parents, his teachers, and to the gods, but he forgets not even for a moment, who he is and why he has come down here. He looks after the welfare of his subjects, even as the great patriarch Brahma. Of every kind of wealth he has enough and to spare. In him the worlds live and move and have their being. Unlike other rulers of men, he reads into the hearts of his subjects and realizes for them their unspoken wishes, even beyond the wildest expectations. He has a watchful eye on the rights and duties of all grades of society and sees that they are carefully preserved and properly discharged. To him he is the strictest of taskmakers, and his daily life is but a silent example and unspoken lesson to the world in his perfect discharge of the manifold and complicated round of duties. Ever the spear and shield of his friends and followers, his heart seeks their highest good here and hereafter. The heart doctrine of the Vedas and the Vedangas lies open before his unclouded vision. He is a past master in the science and art of warfare, and in the use and mastery of weapons human and divine. No arts or sciences, lay or otherwise, have any secrets from him. His memory is something marvelous. In argument he is ever clear and convincing, keen and thorough in his grasp of a subject, quick and ready in his replies, anticipating the slightest objections and difficulties of his opponents. One has but to come within the range of his benign glance, nay, to seek him in earnest thought, to have his heart wishes realized to the utmost in this world or the next. His manners are sweet and refined. The waves of adversity beat against him, but to roll back baffled and broken. He is ever wise and skilful in his relations with the world, lay and religious. As the rivers of the world, large and small, ever flow back to their heart and source, the mighty ocean, and take rest and refuge in it, so the wisest and the best of the land are ever attracted to him by similarity of tastes and pursuits, and by an irresistible charm of manner. He embodies in himself whatever is highest and noblest in the Aryan race and nation. He is just and impartial in his dealings with all, friends and foes, and his heart is like the calm waters of the mountain lake, unruffled by the last breath of joy and sorrow. You may look at him ever so often, but every time you find in him something that surprises you, a new beauty, a new grace, a new charm. Said I not that Rama, the pride and joy of his mother Kaushalya, unites in himself every conceivable perfection? Deep and unfathomable of purpose, like the vast and mighty ocean, whose unknown waters hide from human eyes many a marvel and many a secret. Strong in his resolve and unshaken, even as the mighty Himalayas, the monarch of mountains, whose roots run into the very heart of the earth, and whose proud head pierces the blue vaults of the Empyrean, of valor and prowess like unto the Almighty, of sweet presence and charming, even as his Queen of Night, this dispeller of darkness, terrible in his wrath and all-consuming, not unlike the fire that destroys the worlds at the close of the great day, but withal patient and enduring, even as Mother Earth, a great giver, even as Kubera, the Lord of Wealth. He is truth and justice in human mold, as it were. And Dashratha, the lord of men, yielding to the oft-repeated prayers of his subjects, set his heart upon making over his kingdom to Rama, and along with it the cares of the state. Rama, the living example of every virtue, Rama of irresistible might, Rama, the firstborn of his sons, Rama, fitted by nature and education to be the best and brightest ornament to a throne. Rama, in whose heart the welfare and happiness of his subjects occupies the foremost place. Now Kaikeyi, the best beloved of his wives, viewed with a troubled heart and envious eye the gorgeous preparations that were on foot towards the installation of Rama. Long, long ago, during a fierce battle with the Asuras, she had saved the king's life at the peril of her own, and he, in a transport of gratitude, had allowed her to ask him any boon she would. Now was her time, and she said to the fond king, "Exile Rama to the forest and crown Bharata in his place." Dashratha never went back upon his word, for was he not the proud descendant of the mighty monarchs of the solar race, who cheerfully sacrificed at the altar of truth wife and child, wealth and kingdom, life and limb, nay, their very hopes here and hereafter, and deemed themselves happy in being allowed to do so? He sent Rama away to the wild forest and with him his own life and happiness, for Rama was the joy of his old age and pride of his heart. But Rama, the brightest example of filial reverence, whom alone and unaided the world's hosts embattled dare not face, cheerfully gave up the crown that was his by right, and betook himself to the forest out of deference to his father's wishes, and out of a desire to gladden the heart of his stepmother Kaikeyi. Had they not his word for it? And Lakshmana, the favorite brother of Rama, cheerfully accompanied him to the woods, setting to all the world a rare example of fraternal affection. He was ever a source of joy to his worthy mother Sumitra, who sent him after Rama with the memorable words, "Henceforth Rama is unto you a father, and Sita your loving mother. The pathless woods are your royal home in Ayodhya, and may all good go with you." As the star Rohini ever follows her husband, the moon, even so did Sita accompany her husband to the wild woods. Of Janaka's royal race she came, and was the fairest and the best of the daughters of the earth. Dearer unto her lord than his very life, she lived in him and but for him. For was she not his own energy, come down on earth to aid him in his great work? The sad king and his sadder subjects followed him a long way. At Sringavera, on the banks of the river Ganga, Rama came upon a dear friend of his, Guha, the king of the wild foresters, and bade his charioteer Sumantra go back to his father. Then, guided by him, they travelled over many a trackless forest and forded many a foaming torrent, until they halted at the hermitage of the sagely Bharadwaj, who directed them further on to Chitrakota's hill. There the brothers built for themselves a charming cottage and led a calm and peaceful life in the pleasant woods, happy even as are the gods and the Gandharvas. Meanwhile, the unhappy father, stricken even unto death at being parted from the son of his heart, passed away in an agony of grief, calling upon his darling Rama, and took his place in the mansions of the blessed. Thereupon Vashishta and the other counselors of Dashratha tried their very best to induce Bharata to accept the vacant throne. But he, mighty of arms and with his heart ever devoted to Rama, would not even hear of it. He was on his way to the royal exile to beg him to come back and rule over his people. Soon he came upon the high-souled Rama in his forest home, and to him of irresistible valor thus spoke Bharata in all humility and reverence. "Now that our father is no more, yours is the crown, yours is the kingdom, and who knows better than yourself that a younger brother has no claim to the throne before his elder, best fitted to adorn it? Come back and be the king over us." Thus spoke he, but all in vain, for the other felt happier among the woods and streams, and chose the path his fathers trod before him, the path of honor and fame. The kingdom was his by right and by might, but he had given his word to his royal father, and was he the man to go back upon it? Gently but firmly he persuaded Bharata to go back to Ayodhya, but at his earnest prayer gave him his sandals, thrice holy with a touch of his feet, visible representatives of the rightful king and the invisible source of Bharata's wise government and welfare of his kingdom. Had not the world a glimpse of their greatness in the matter of Ahalya? "Twice 7 years hence will I meet you here, doubt not," were the words that fell upon the ears of the disappointed Bharata as he wended his sorrowful way back, not to Ayodhya, to Nandigrama, from where, as regent of the royal sandals, he looked after the affairs of the kingdom, living the life of a hermit, his heart with Rama, and his eyes ever turned along the road that should bring back his brother to him.